Hey guys, welcome back to another math lesson with HK Math and Science. This video is about congruent triangles, and hopefully by the end of this lesson we should all understand the meaning of congruence, be able to identify corresponding pairs of sides or angles in triangles, be able to use congruence tests to show that a pair of triangles are congruent, and finally be able to use congruence of triangles to find unknown angles or sides. Just pause the video here and take a couple of minutes to write these down. Alright, so let's start off with the first success criteria, and that's to understand the meaning of congruence. So congruent figures have the same shape and size, and if two figures are congruent, one of them can be transformed by using rotation, reflection, and or translation to match the other figure exactly. So this is an example here. If I rotate one of these two images, they will be exactly the same. So that's kind of what congruent means. Another example here, triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DENF. If we rotate this one, so this flat side is on the bottom, it will be exactly the same triangle. So the corresponding sides of this triangle, we have AB equals DE, this side here, noted by the three lines. They're the same length. BC is the same length, denoted by the two lines there. And AC is going to be the same as DF, denoted by that line there. The corresponding angles as well. Angle A is going to be the same as angle D, denoted by the X. Angle C is going to be the same as angle F, and angle B is going to be the same as angle E. So when writing a congruent statement, so that's just stating that two triangles are congruent to each other, or two shapes, we write them in order of the corresponding angles or sides. So remember, corresponding angle of A was D, so we have A first and D first on either side of that. Corresponding angle for B was E, so we have B and E, and then we have corresponding angles were C and F, so we write that in order like that. Triangle ABC is corresponding to triangle DEF. We wouldn't write it like triangle ABC is equal to triangle FED, because these aren't exactly corresponding. Alright, so there are a couple of tests to identify if triangles are congruent. These are the three main ones, and they're known as side, 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 angle, side, and angle, angle, side, and they're just often written as acronyms like that. So the side, side, side test is when three pairs of corresponding sides are equal. So that means there are three pairs, that's one pair, that's two pair, and that's three pairs of sides that are the same length. So in this case, these two triangles would be congruent. Next test is side, angle, side, or SAS, and this is when two pairs of corresponding sides and the included angle are equal. So there's two pairs of sides here. These are the same, and there's one angle there, that's the same as well. So this will be congruent as well. And the last test, we have angle, angle, side. This is when two angles and any pair of corresponding sides are equal. So we have two angles, these are the same here. That's the same because they're both shown as X. These are the same because they're both represented using a black dot, and these sides are the same as well because they have the same number of markings on them. And there's one last test, this one's for right angle triangles, and this is the right angle, hypotenuse, and side. Remember, the hypotenuse is the longest side of a right angle triangle, and in this case the right angle, the hypotenuse, and one other pair of corresponding sides are equal. So we have this right angle, they're the same, hypotenuse, they're the same, and the corresponding side here is also the same. Alright, now let's move on to some example questions. Which congruence test would be used to show that these pairs of triangles are congruent? Let's start with question A. We have two sides that are the same, like there we go, and one angle. So this one fulfills the test, side, angle, side, so it'll be SAS. Question B, we have two sides, the hypotenuse, one side, and a right angle. So this one will be right angle, hypotenuse, and side. Question C, I have angle, side, angle, side. Angle, angle, side. We have two angles that are the same and one side that's the same, so that will be AAS, angle, angle, side. And question D, I have three pairs of same side length, so that means it is SSS, or side, side, side. Alright, now it's your turn. Let's just pause the video on these questions, have a go at these questions by yourself, and just unpause it when you're ready to go through them with me. Alright, so question A, which congruence test would you use for question A? I can see three pairs of the same side, so there would be side, 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 or SSS. Question B, I have two angles that are the same and one side, so that will be angle, angle, side, or AAS. Question C, I have a right angle, the hypotenuse is the same as well, and one side that's the same as well, so that will be right angle, hypotenuse, side, RHS. And question D, I have an angle and two sides that are the same, so that'll be side, angle, side. Give yourself a tick for each one you got correct here. Alright, now let's move on to the next set of questions. These ones are a little bit more difficult. This one says, find the values of the prime numerals in these pairs of congruent triangles. So it's telling us that these triangles are in fact congruent, and we need to find out what x equals and what y equals. And in this question, we need to find out what the angle A is and what the angle B is. Alright, so let's start with question A. We need to find the length of x and the length of y. So we know that they are congruent, we just need to find the corresponding sides. So let's start off by looking at the angles. We have the black dot angle here. Directly opposite to it is the 4. In this case, directly opposite to it is the 4 as well. And let's have a look at the square one. Directly opposite to the square is x. And directly opposite to the square angle here is 5. So that means angle x is going to equal 5. Now let's have a look at the other angle, the not labeled angle. Directly opposite to that is y, and is 6, sorry, and on this case directly opposite to that is y. So we know y is going to equal 6. So that's how we find the corresponding sides and their lengths. Moving on to the next question, we're going to use the same method, but we're going to find the angle this time. So I want to find out angle A first. Directly opposite to angle A is the side with 1 marking. So I'm going to go from the 1 marking side here and go to the angle, and that's 25 degrees. So we know angle A is going to equal 25 degrees. Now let's find angle B. I'm going to rub off these markings now just to make it easier for you to see. Directly opposite to angle B is the double marking. So let's go over there. We don't know what it is here. We don't know what it is in either case. So I'm going to find it for the other one. We need to find out what that is by adding these two angles together. We know that A was 25. Remember, the total internal angle of a triangle is 180. So I need to do 180 minus 125. That gives me 5 there and 5 there. That means B is going to equal 55 degrees. Because we just found out that this angle is 55 degrees. Directly opposite to that is the 2 marking side. And directly opposite to the 2 marking side is B here. And B will also equal 55 degrees. Alright, now moving on, it's your turn. Just pause the video here, have a go at these ones by yourself, and just unpause it when you're ready to go through them with me. Alright, starting with question A, let's find x and y. So we can see x is directly opposite to the angle that is not labeled there. So we'll find the angle that's not labeled and see what's directly opposite. So we know x equals 4 from that. And y is directly opposite to the angle that's labeled x over here. Let's go to the one on the left and see what's directly opposite to that, and that is the side length 8. So y is going to equal 8. Give yourself a tick for each one you got correct here. Alright, moving on to question B. This one's going to be a little bit more difficult. That's okay. We're going to find the angles this time of angle A and angle B. Let's start with angle A. Angle A is directly opposite to the side with 2 markings. So let's have a look here. Directly opposite to the side with 2 markings is 75 degrees. So we know A is going to be 75 degrees. And B is directly opposite to the angle to the side with 1 marking, and in this case we don't quite know what that is, like that. So we're going to find out what that angle is. We know this is 75, that's 90, so 90 plus 75, that gives me 165. And remember, the total internal angle of a triangle is 180, so we can find that angle by doing 180 minus 165. That gives me 5 there, and an angle size of 15 degrees. So that's 15 degrees. So if that's 15 degrees, it means this one is also 15 because they're both directly opposite, because they're both congruent and they're directly opposite to the side length marked with the 1 line there. So B is going to be 15 degrees. Alright, so that brings us to the end of this lesson. Hopefully you guys do have a better understanding of congruency and congruent triangles now. It was a bit of a tricky topic, so please make sure you are asking your teacher a lot of questions in class. And hopefully by now we all understand the meaning of congruency, can identify corresponding pairs of sides or angles in triangles, can use congruence tests to show that a pair of triangles are congruent, and finally can use congruence of triangles to find unknown angles or sides. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all back online.